Hello everyone and welcome back to a new dev vlog for MidBoss. It's been a while because I went on a trip to England and then I had class and then I got sick and then I was busy actually working on the game. So let's dive right in. There's a few things I want to talk about today. Okay, so can't actually remember exactly what I talked about last time. I think this was in already, and this was in already, and this was kind of in already. As you can see, I've made the user interface, well, currently only this, but I do intend to extend that to the rest of it, like customizable. So there's this little slidey thingy. So what you can do, this actually works, so you know. Yeah, so I figured my user interface layout is never going to please everyone, so I'm going to have to make it customizable somehow. This part, like the log, I think a lot of people would want to have different configurations, so you could be like a couple lines and just put it here and fill the entire screen, or you know, you could just put a small block here so it's like out of the way. So what you do is right now it's unlocked, so you have the slider. If you right click on this, you'll see a context menu pop up, which has lock and reset position. If I reset the position, it goes there. If I lock, this thing goes away and you can't move it anymore. I'm trying to move it, it doesn't move. So you can unlock a widget, and later on this is going to be able to be done with all the widgets, and you can just drag it around and resize it. Well, you won't be able to resize these, but well, maybe the health bars. Not quite sure, but eventually you'll be able to use this to customize your entire user interface. For now, let's just keep that locked. As you can see, there's like a rat over here. I hope you like the new graphics for the rats. They're a little bit spiky, but you know, fine. And one of the first things I want to show is, whoop, look, the sprites, they mirror. Oh my god! Okay, so that's not very interesting, but it's more animation than the old version had, which is something. Also, as you can see, the minimap now actually shows the other rat. It was just, you know, putting a dot where the player was supposed to be before, but not now. And something else that's interesting, so if I move, hang on, let me make this a little bit bigger. When I move, you see it's player's turn, and then it's Imp96's turn continued, which is me. And then it's the rat's turn. This continuation is, right now, if I move, it's just an instant. Hang on, let me find a place that has a few more rats. Oh yeah, you can't move like horizontally or vertically onto the other tiles anymore. You have to actually like go around like this. So that's going to be interesting. That's probably going to kill a lot of people. I'm a bit of a sadist when it comes to roguelikes. I find it amusing when my players die repeatedly. But don't let that stop you from playing them, because then I wouldn't have any amusement. Okay, so there's 2 rats here. There's actually a bit more, I think. Yeah, there's tons of rats, but whatever. So if I move around, move, you bloody rat. See, you see this rat moving, and he moved twice very quickly, so it looks like I take a turn and everyone else takes a turn, but that's not actually the case. That's where this is, by the way, debug input. This is not going to be in the game. It's just for the sake of debugging and for the sake of the video. So when I move, it says discontinued. That's because when a mobile takes an action, usually you would want to animate that some way, or at least add in a brief pause so the player can follow what's happening. So the pauses are built into the engine already. So I take my turn, it moves me, it pauses, but then it continues immediately because I haven't added in any animations or pausing yet, which is why it seems like it's instant, but the support for it being slower and over time is in there. That's the first thing that's very interesting. And then the second thing is, so you see my turn. There it is. You see rat 75, it takes a turn, and then all the other rats take a turn, and then it takes a turn again, and not until after that it's my turn. So this is the speed system that's going to be a new stat. In the old version, you moved, everyone else moved, and it was actually impossible most of the time to run away. Even after I added line of sight, it was really difficult to lose an enemy once it got on you. Now there's a speed stat, which is, by the way, going to be very hard to modify. I'm thinking maybe there's going to be some built-in traits that might give you +1 to speed. Size also modifies it. So the imp is 5 speed right now, which is default. Rats are 6 speed. I figured they're going to have some kind of trait that makes them fast that you could learn that gives you +1 speed. They're also size small, which will affect a bunch of stats, but right now the only stat we have is speed. So they have +1 from that, so they have 7 speed and they move quite a bit more often than the imp does. The imp is medium size, so that's +0 from size. There's also tiny size, which is +2 speed, large size, which is -1, and huge size, which is -2. So that's going to be an interesting aspect of the new game, because now if you're starting out the game, skeletons used to kill lots and lots and lots of people, and while that was funny to me for a while, it obviously was a big hurdle to people getting into the game. Right, what I could do now is, like, a skeleton is undead, or I could add zombies which are undead and very, very slow, and that would make it easier to run away as long as you were not actually a skeleton or a zombie yourself. So it might ease the transition into the game. So that's that. There's also, the walls are like slightly tinged, but that's hard to see. So if I do this, why do you keep doing that, game? It moves position when I do new game, which is so annoying. But you can see, like, the dungeon changes color. This is going to be a random thing, like every floor is going to be its own color. The colorization of the walls is kind of basic right now, and it's not very noticeable. I want to, make that better eventually, but right now this is basically the best I can do without, spending lots and lots more time on it. This is actually interesting. You usually don't start with lots of enemies near you. So that's one thing. Let me see if I can... God damn it. Let's see if I can find a feature of the dungeons that's new. So this is interesting. Like, you can't actually go up through this. You could before, but you can still see up because the line of sight doesn't, have the same rules as movement. That's a bit of an issue. Here it is. It's not very clear, but it's fine. So I've added big corridors. I used to only have small corridors. This is a size 3 width corridor, so that's much more better. That makes it a little bit more interesting to, like, walk around. Usually I can find better corridors, but not right now, which is annoying. Let's find one that's a bit better. Here's one. I'm not actually sure why it's, like, connecting like this. It's actually not supposed to. I might have to, like, it's supposed to be a big corridor all the way up to the room. I actually changed that, but apparently there's some bug in the code that I have to fix. So this is just a big corridor, and I don't know what the hell this is. Why this is too big, but whatever. So that's that. There's also something else which is new, which is the full screen map. I'm not sure if the minimap was actually in the last video. Can't remember. So this is the full screen map, which is if you get lost or something. Ah, god damn it! I'm blocked in here. Full screen map. This is also new. It's the cheat menu, so you can just hit F10 and open cheat menu. That's gonna be a feature in the game for players who want to cheat, because not everyone likes to play games legit, I guess. Not everyone is man enough, or woman enough. So yeah, you can see the entire map here. It's fine. It's full screen. They actually took that out of Diablo 3, I heard. That's stupid. So it should make navigation a bit easier. I also took out corridors which lead to nothing. If I'm generating a world and it has a corridor which only has one connection to another cell, it basically just makes it a room instead, which generates much more natural feeling maps. Then I want to talk a bit about stuff that is not so clearly visible. I've done a lot of code design work, and which is kind of important to players as well. Implementing the AI and implementing that sort of thing. So I really want people to be able to mod this game, and I want them to be able to do it easily. So what I did was, how do you explain this kind of stuff? Well, what I want to do is, for starters, to have people be able to create mods by just putting classes of C# code into a folder, and the game will automatically compile them on load. And so if you add a new monster, it will automatically be added into the game. I added an attribute to mobs which specifies the name and whether they're special or not. Special means that they can't spawn on their own. For instance, the imp is a special mob, the rat is not. Then I added a bunch of interfaces to all my entities, and the internal engine basically uses the interfaces for everything. If you don't know what an interface means, it basically means that the game knows what kind of things it can do with an object, but it doesn't know exactly what the object is, and it doesn't care as long as it has those things it can do. So what a modder could conceivably do with a new MidBoss is create an entire new base class for entities and base their own, new monsters and stuff on that new base class. As long as it does everything that the engine expects it to do, it's gonna be fine. I wouldn't recommend it, but some people like that. They like that kind of thing. Then every mobile also has a descriptor interface. I thought about doing this with attributes, because like the attributes of a rat should probably be tied to the type and not to an actual instance of a rat. But eventually I chose not to, because I want modding to have stuff be discoverable and to have error reporting on compile time, so people know what they're doing wrong. For instance, every mobile has a property that they have to implement, which indicates a string that points to what sprite they need to use. So if you forget that as a modder, you get an error message when you try to compile your code, and it'll be like, hey, you didn't implement this. Then there's other stuff like speed, which have default values. For instance, speed's default value is 5, so if you don't override that value, it's going to be fine. But because it's not an attribute of a class, it's actually a property on a class, you can just type this and then a period, and if you have IntelliSense, it'll show you everything that's on the class, so you can see that there's a property named base speed that you can override to give something a different speed, which seems like it would be useful to me. The AI is obviously, since the rats are moving, the AI is in. I spent a lot of work on the AI trying to make it work right. For instance, right now the rats are getting 1 move per turn. You can actually increase that value to 2 or 3 or how many ever you want, and that will work, but you don't actually need to modify the AI. The AI is a decision tree based system, which basically means that you have simple nodes which do one thing. Some nodes just have a bunch of subnodes that they call in turn. Other nodes actually do stuff like moving around these rats. Now, AI is ticked forward, and in one tick, it basically addresses one node, unless it's a node that has child nodes, in which case it just goes further up into the tree. What that means is every tick, one node happens, and every tick, the entity can say to the AI, well, hold on, stop running now, because you're out of turns, or something like that. So what happens when a rat moves is the AI tells the rat to move, which sends a message to the mobile that it's moving. The mobile checks how many moves has it done this turn. Is that more than the moves that it can do per turn? If so, the turn is just over, but because the AI maintains its state, a mobile can actually take turns, take actions that span multiple turns. To put this in layman's terms, you can make an AI that will, for instance, a cowardly mage AI that will run away from the player up to a certain distance and then lob a fireball at them, which is a complex series of actions because it's going to take multiple turns to run away and lob a fireball. And when designing that AI, which is again useful for modders, you do not actually need to concern yourself with it being multiple turns. You can just think, okay, I want it to run away and lob a fireball. If you make an AI that does that, the engine will take care of deciding when the turn's up and spread out your AI over multiple turns. So that's also a thing. I'm quite pleased how this is coming along. I think I should be able to have this playable at around the same state that the old one was, hopefully by another 4 weeks or so, maybe. I'm not sure though, because it's kind of college and stuff. It's getting in the way. If not 4 weeks, then probably in July it'll be, where the old one was, and we can start, shelving the old one and focusing on the new one and adding more features, stuff like that. Did I do anything else? Can't remember. I don't think so. What I need to do next, let's talk about that for a bit before I close, is well, this is interesting. What I need, this is a very long corridor, isn't it? Oh my god. That's interesting. Ooh, that's a lot of rats, don't want to get blocked in there. What I need to do next is saving and loading the world state. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do this. I'm probably going to do it in XML, which is a sort of HTML-like plain text format that you can use to store stuff in, for those who do not know. That means that you can actually if you know what you're doing, edit your saves by hand, which I think again is going to be useful for modders and is going to be useful for people who don't want to play the game legit. Like, the game is not gonna oh, this is a big corner. This is kind of cool. The game is not going to advertise, oh, here's the cheat menu and here's the save file so you can save scum and it's plain text so you can edit it. But if people want to do that with my game, if that's what they think is fun to do, why would I try to stop them? I mean, gaming is all about choices and choices are fun, so why would I try to take away your choices? That doesn't make any sense. That's bad design. I guess I can see it in like an online game where, if people cheated, it would be unfair on other people, but it's not going to impact anyone if someone cheats in MidBoss. So that's why I'm doing that. So I hope you people are grateful to me for doing that. No, that was a joke. Please don't hate me. I hope people listening, watching will appreciate that, and I don't know, if you think I'm wrong, leave a comment, send me a message on Twitter, we can have a big argument, and then, afterwards we can kiss and make up. Probably not, unless you're a really cute girl or something. What else? Oh, this has nothing to really do with the game, but I am planning to do like a sort of podcast sort of thing. If you're interested in that, I'm gonna put a link in the description of this video so you know when and where it is happening. It's gonna be me and two guys to start with. The first episode is probably going to be really, really rough, so please keep that in mind. And what we're going to do is basically talk game design. We're going to tackle game design from a number of viewpoints. One guy is my QA guy, so he has a lot of experience from the player point of view and also from inside the industry is doing QA, which he did professionally for many years. Another is another friend of mine who you might have seen on this channel, Greymac. He also does game design, but he doesn't have the same take most gamers have on games, so I think that might be interesting. He's currently working on a sort of Ultima-like sandbox buildy game. It's sort of like Project Drake, except increasingly more retro. I'll see if he wants to talk about that in the podcast, maybe. It deserves some attention. So anyway, that's the second dev vlog for MidBoss. Thank you for tuning in, and hopefully we'll have more for you soon. Okay, bye-bye.